My name is Danny Mark Riche. Everybody knows me as Joe. I've been Joe all my life.
Joe Reese is an Iberville Parish Sheriff's deputy, but what sets him apart is he has been doing the same job for the past 53 years.
I was raised in the little town of Rosedale, which is about 5 or 6 miles south of here. I played football, basketball, track. I was a pretty good basketball player. I made all district, 67 and 68.
And when he least expected it, one question would dictate the rest of his professional life.
A good friend of mine in Grove State by the name of Mr. Tony Cirillo, he was the mayor in Grove State for years. And he says, Joe, the people in the North End's been asking for a sheriff's substation because we had nothing back then. That was in 1972. He said, would you be interested? I said, oh, I don't know, Tony. I said, I don't know too much about law enforcement. He said, well, you got to start and learn. I said, okay. Here comes Sheriff Uso, and he asked me about it. I said, well, it depends on the pay. And he said, well, I'll give you, whatever you're making, I'll give you a $200 a month raise, and then another year, $100 a month raise. Well, that sounded good back in 1972. I said, I'll take it. So I started off in communications as a dispatcher, and I stayed there for years. I was 22 years old. Now I'm 75. So.
As a young professional, Riche turned his attention now to his personal life.
I'm married. Her name is Carol. We married in 1977. I have no children of my own, but she had 2 boys, which we raised. They were real small, and I love them to death. And she fought with me through each battle. She knew what I had to do and what I didn't have to do. Every deputy sheriff, every law enforcement know what I'm talking about. They know exactly what I'm talking about.
In his 53 years at the Iberville Parish Sheriff's Department, while he kept his job, the top cops have rotated out several times.
I'm very proud of knowing that I've worked under 4 sheriffs in my time. The first one I mentioned was Joe Uso. Joe could have been sheriff as long as he wanted to be. He was that well liked. He was a man of his means, and when he said it, he did it, and he meant it. The day he died, we had to march from the funeral home to the graveyard in front of the hearse, which was a good, I say maybe 3 miles. Of course, I was young then. Then there was Sheriff Freddie Petrie. I remember most about Sheriff Petrie is that he used to call me Big Joe. Every time he'd see me, Big Joe. My next sheriff was Brenda Lane. Brent gave me something I never forgot. Through his administration, I was nominated as Lawman of the Year. And that meant a lot to me because after all these years, you do feel that somebody is looking at you, you know. And I felt good about that. Right now we have Sheriff Brett Stassi, I'm still working for. Incidentally, I just work part-time now, I'm not full-time. But anyway, he cares for his people, he cares for his department, and he makes sure that each deputy is equipped and qualified to become a deputy.
In the half-century Riche has been policing, he says the profession has changed drastically.
Everything back then was so much easier. The only thing we maybe had to go on the calls for if we went on calls was most of the time was little bar fights. We'll say to each other, well, I guess old so-and-so's in the fight again. We know who he was before we got there 90% of the time. That's how it was back then, you know. And I think the biggest change I see in criminal and crime is in the young people today. We never had that back then where young people were shooting each other, raising sand in school, you know, carrying on, didn't respect their mother and their father. We never had that. To me, that's one of the biggest changes I've seen. Of course, we had other crimes, but to me, this is one of the ones that sticks out to me right now. I was like old Will Rogers. He had a saying, I never met a man I didn't like. And that's the way I took the approach to it. If you go on a call and you start walking up there with a bad attitude yourself over the fight, you're causing more harm than good because they're getting mad at you, and that's the worst thing you want to do. You want to make the arrest or whatever you have to do as easy as possible.
So what's his advice to all of you, and even to his brothers and sisters in blue?
Be nice. It don't only help you, but it helps everyone.
His favorite part about being a deputy?
It did my heart good to see you call somebody a child missing and we found him, you know. What I enjoy about it is serving people. I've been through tornadoes and hurricanes where people needed help. Helping people is the main thing. The good part about it was just what I like.
After 53 years, you may question what kept him going and continues to keep him in law enforcement.
If you don't believe in God, why are you here? Don't do anything with your life if you don't believe in God. He's the one and only. Believe me, I know. I've been through it several times, like I said. I'm a Christian. I try to help people as much as I can. I've never treated anybody wrong that I can remember in my years of serving the public. Never. Faith is the most important thing in your life. You got to have faith.
Reporting in Iberville Parish with Unfiltered with Karen, I'm Karen Chawla.